So, Keep Me Fed, the fourth LP from The Warning, is now out. How does it stack up against its predecessors, especially in the department of heavy? Let's think about this. Hey everybody, I'm Wayne, your metal professor, and we'll do more intro after we check out the first cut from Keep Me Fed. As if simply to defy what nearly everyone expected about this album, we begin with 25 seconds of unadulterated metal in 6 feet deep. And then, as if to defy what everyone expects after those first 25 seconds, we get a pretty soft delivery of Danny's vocals accompanied by just the drums and guitar. The chorus, though, is a heavy wall of sound, followed by another verse, another chorus, and then at about 2:10, one of those Warning trademarks, as it were. The rhythm takes a slight turn with some staccato drums from Powell, followed by about 10 seconds of another differently constructed section, leading into the final chorus. And the song's last 10 seconds or so are the same riff, but without any fills, and we get a sparse, appropriately deathly ending. Now, lyrically, there's not much to say here. This is essentially a you song, and it is short, only about 3 minutes long, as are all the songs on this album. In all of Keep Me Fed, there is only one song that's over about 3:30, and it's only 3 minutes and 41 seconds or so. Each of the songs in Keeps Me Fed just comes in, smacks you upside the head, and then leaves again. Hi again, I'm Wayne, your metal professor. Already said that. Thank you so much for choosing this video from the literally millions you could have chosen instead.
Thank you.
Obviously, I hope you like it. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, join the discussion, leave a comment, and if for some unfathomable reason you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Now, we're not going to do the whole rock or metal thing that we've done in previous videos about The Warning, because I think we've already covered that. They are a hard rock band who can get their metal on when they want to. Now, obviously, I'm going to comment upon what I think are the metal or hard rock or funk or even pop elements that we hear in the song, but for the most part, we're just going to go through the album song by song and take a look at how each song is put together, and we are not concerned as such with whether it's rock or metal. We never have been. It's just fun to talk about, okay? If you like the music, you like the music. Now, before we do much else, let's consider this. Keep Me Fed is not a concept album in the same way that Queen of the Murder Scene is, but there is a theme running through Keep Me Fed, and it is the theme of being fed or not being fed emotionally. Staying emotionally fed is a primal human trait or need, and that's what this album is about. If you are a metalhead, you might have breathed a sigh of relief when you heard Sick, released right after the first single from the album, More, because Sick is a lot heavier than More, and I prefer Sick over More. Now, that's not dissing the song More at all. I adore that song. I think it's absolutely fabulous. But just for me, Sick is the more satisfying tune. And let me tell you why. There are 3 reasons. First, as we said, Sick is heavier. Both the song itself and the creative video that goes with it. Both the drum and the guitar are, for lack of a better word, they sound primitive in a good way. I don't hear much effect added to Powell's drums. Danny's guitar has an almost stoner rock feeling to it, which we might attribute to the orange amplifiers that Danny uses, the brand, not the color. But she also uses a pedal board, or I should say an amp processor, a modeler. So there's really no way to tell where that particular sound is coming from. But it sounds good. Second reason I really, really like this song. It's just great. The music is very well produced and the whole song is just constructed so damn well. As usual, the band gives us a great bridge from verse to chorus with a kicked up tempo, a more full sound than the verse, and the chorus just pounds. Now, the second verse and chorus sound a lot like the first, but Danny makes a really inspired, I think it's Danny, a really inspired vocal choice at one point, going, I think, falsetto, just for a moment. And that is such a contrast with the rest of the tone that it really adds a lot. The post-second chorus section, which is kind of difficult to say, breaks things up nicely while not losing the song's momentum, and that abrupt, brief quietude that we get at around 2:20 ends with a scream.
Give me violence, kill the silence!
It just sounds so good. Lyrically, the song is pretty straightforward here, but there is a nice triple entendre going on. 3 distinct meanings of the title. And if you've ever been in such a situation, wondering what to do about your life that just seems stagnant, you'll get it. Now, I said there were 3 reasons for my preferring Sick over More. The third is that Sick is not just full of nice little earworms, which sounds kind of weird when you put it that way. I mean, it does have earworms. There's got to be a better phrase than that. It does have earworms, yeah, but it's not just the catchiness of them. If you are open to it, the lyrical content can get you to thinking about things that might not even be really connected with the song. Or maybe that bit just appeals to my desire to exact violent revenge upon my foes. I don't know, chalk it up to whatever you want. Okay, right, I will do no more comparing of the songs, right? No more saying, hey, I like this one a lot better than that one, right? We'll just go through the songs and I'll comment on them and right, okay? What the hell was my actual reaction to the song Apologize? It is thoughtful, it is catchy, it is heavy, and it doesn't start out heavy, actually. We first get 30 seconds or so of Danny's vocals and muted chords with Ali's bass just following the same tempo and, the same rhythm, the same chords. Then Pow's drums come in with kind of a stuttering thing she has going on. And the last 10 seconds before the chorus are just Danny's soft vocals and acoustic guitar, followed by a literal lone whisper.
Wasting breath, waiting for nothing, 'cause you won't apologize.
That whisper comes back repeatedly, and the general construction or arrangement or whatever you want to call it of the verses and the chorus and such don't vary too much from their first appearance. And Danny, I think it's Danny anyway, her soft vocals provide a nice contrast with that sledgehammer instrumentation that goes through most of the song. And it works really well, actually. So this is another song that defies any easy classification. And what's it about? It's about the dissatisfying feeling of empty sex. At least, that's how I read it. There's no emotional fulfillment in the act because the speaker's partner has done something. Now, whatever that something is never made clear, but apparently it is something that is great enough that it needs an apology that never comes. This is one of those songs that surprises me with its emotional maturity. Now, that's not a dig at the ladies' young ages or a dig at the content of their other songs. Rather, it's an acknowledgement that most songs in most genres for most bands provide a kind of simulated emotional content. This track, though, if you put together all the little references, including just to the time of day, accurately captures how maddening it is to be in such a situation. So mundane, so unintentionally cruel, and ultimately so destructive to both parties and their relationship. It's just a great song. ¿Qué más quieres? Another catchy song here, short and punchy, hard rock all the way, and the composition is pretty straightforward with mostly loud parts, but we also get a quieter part. In terms of topic, we have another song here about a bad relationship. But interestingly to me, this time things are flipped. The speaker is not the victim, but the abuser. And let's be real clear, shall we? I'm sure most of us know that abuse does not have to be just physical. Emotional abuse can hurt just as much. If somebody stomps the hell out of your emotions, that doesn't heal quickly. Those are scars you can take to your grave. And in this song, the speaker seems to take kind of a perverse pleasure in that. Now, let's address that this song, like Narcisista and Martirio, is entirely in Spanish. Given that those previous two songs, Narcisista and Martirio, address in some fashion the negative vibes or the negative reaction that the band is dealing with from some segments of the culture, I don't think it's a huge inductive leap to conclude that this song in some ways is about kind of the same thing. And that puts an entirely different perspective on it. In this interpretation, the song could be the band saying, in short, you say you hate us, but you know you love us. You know you love this music. You know you are coming back for it, regardless of how you feel about us personally. So give in, because you know you want it. So it might be kind of revengey. Right. More was the first video released from this album about 9 months ago, in fact, as I'm making this video. And it was immediately greeted with both enthusiasm and scorn. The scorn came from what seemed like a surprisingly large section of the audience who thought the band was leaning into pop, and they based this reaction especially upon the video. The enthusiasm came from most of the rest of us, because this is a catchy, fun, good song, even if I'm still going to maintain that the content is mostly negative. It's mostly about a bad thing. But, you know, if you look at it from just the right angle, I suppose you can take any piece of art and interpret it however in the world you want, because enjoyment of art is subjective. And as we discussed in my analysis of this song in an earlier video, check that out there if you would please, More has some really interesting instrumentation combining metal and hard rock and, yes, maybe even a little pop. And the video, as noted, belies how heavy the song is, because the video is just so damn fun. And if you happen to catch the band's performance of this song, More, at the MTV VMA Awards, or you caught the broadcast most likely, then you will know how much heavier this song is when performed live than it is on the record. It's just really fun, and it's a departure from what we had come to expect from the band. And I think those of us who thought, hey, they're kind of experimenting with their sound, I think we were right on the money. And we'll say a little bit more about experimentation and musical evolution at the end of this video. Anyway, since we have already covered this song in detail, that's about all that we'll say about it. Escapism. This cut begins as more downbeat than anything we have heard on the album so far, but it's still hard rock, as the chorus makes very clear. And, again, the warning surprises us by including some elements that do not usually crop up in their tunes. There's some interesting filter on the guitar, and maybe this is just a thing that guitarists would notice, I don't know. But there's some palm muting of the high strings, the G, B, and E strings. Those are... that's these three strings, right? The thin ones, not the thick ones. It's usually the thick ones, right, that are palm muted. But in this song, we get some muting of the high ones, which is kind of cool. Anyway, before we get to that point, some of us might go, oh, okay, finally, here it is, the Warning's pure pop song. But no, it isn't. That abruptly discordant little passage leading into the chorus makes us kind of go, what? Before the chorus comes in, and again, it just pounds like an anvil smashing a cartoon coyote.
Kills you. So I close my eyes till it all fades.
There's a cool little bridge from the chorus into the second verse, and we get it again. But the second verse and the chorus, I mean, they're like the first iterations of those, but they kind of sound like they're on steroids. They're just a little bigger, a little more energetic. And at 2:42, man, any thought this is a lightweight song just goes right out the door. Then the intensity dips again, and then it raises again, and well, you know how this goes, right? Even in a 3-minute song, the Warning know how to slap us out of our comfort zone. And like the speaker, when the song ends, we are left unsatisfied. We are left wanting more, which, oh, no pun intended, which I think is the case with the entire album. When you finish this album, you're not going to want to just lay back and enjoy a post-coital cigarette or something like that. Instead, you'll probably want to listen to the whole thing again, right now, and then maybe again. And then you'll probably be playing it in your car as you drive to work for a few weeks. And many of us still won't be satisfied because this album is just so good. By the by, if you'd like to buy an In Metal We Trust shirt or a Metal is for Girls shirt, there's a link in the video description. Yeah, I'm shamelessly hawking my own wares, but what are you gonna do? I really like this cut, Burnout. There's a heavy funk vibe here, and I can imagine some folks hearing that and sort of classifying this song, whether consciously or subconsciously, as pop. But no, it's not. I'll tell you what. If you perceive this song as pop, try this little thought experiment. Imagine not Danny, but Rick James on the vocals.
Everybody sing. Super freak, she's a very special girl.
Then tell me this is more pop than funk. But back to the song itself. Now, I would guess, and obviously I am just guessing, but I would guess that the seeds for Burnout came from the band's working so hard for so long. They seem like they're always on tour. And that is not easy, despite what some people might think. The grind of touring, playing, driving hundreds of miles between gigs, recording an album, and then doing the whole thing again, over and over ad nauseum. Even if you enjoy what you're doing, man, it can get to be a grind. I even get some of that thrown at me. In my day job, I profess English literature at a university, and I've had people say, you don't have a real job because, and I quote, all you do is think and talk all day. Yeah, well, try it sometime, consistently, then tell me how easy it is. Okay, enough of my getting stuff off my own chest. Back to the album. This song is not about being burnt out by their jobs. Rather, this is a song about someone in a relationship with a partner who is burnt out. And not just burnt out, but they've burned out and then given up. That is a whole different thing, man. Again, we have a heavy funk vibe in this song, although, of course, we get several different sections with differing tempos and so forth. There's no way to call this a metal song. I don't think it's completely a funk song, and it's certainly not pop. So let's just say this is a quirky, catchy little hard rock song. And really, from all the Warning's LPs, I think this song caught me off guard more than any other single track has done. And while we don't analyze videos here on this channel, we haven't yet anyway. If you'd like me to, though, just let me know in the comments, and I'll think about it. But the video for this song deserves just to be mentioned because it is so goofy. It's not the video, perhaps, that I would have chosen for the song, but it works in its own way. And that little bit in the video of Pau losing her temper and Danny and Ali having to hold her back from going straight over the table to kick somebody's ass. I I love that bit.
Help me now. How am I supposed to hide? Watch me drown.
Sharks. Now you guys of all genders, you probably know I work on these videos extensively. It takes me 12 to 20 hours, sometimes more, to do one of these things. I make copious notes, and while I'm making the notes, and then while I'm doing this, even just talking into the camera, and then while I'm editing, I keep thinking about the songs. And sometimes there will be a song that, despite all that thinking and note-taking and reflection and whatever, I just can't really describe what it is that I find so cool or so terrible, although that doesn't apply to any of the warning songs, about the track. Sharks is one of those. Sharks is the trippiest song on Keep Me Fed. It does not fit into any particular musical category, and it defies all expectations, at least all the expectations that I might have had. And here's the thing, it defies them well. This song, Sharks, and this is a big claim, and I know people are going to argue about it, you might disagree with me, and that's completely fine, because, that's subjective art thing again. I think that Sharks might be the Warning's masterpiece song so far out of their entire catalog. It defies my every expectation, and it does so really well. And man, I wish this were 9 minutes or 12 minutes instead of only 3. And that's about all we'll say about it. Another seriously genre-bending cut, Hell You Call a Dream, gives us some metal, gives us some hard rock, flirts a little bit with pop, although it doesn't really go there. And I think it provides the richest, or for me anyway, the most effective section of blended vocals that we've gotten so far in those final 30 seconds or so. And interestingly, the ladies do a pretty good job of replicating all those blended vocals live.
And that's how you call a dream.
And speaking of live videos, not those produced and released by the band, but I mean fan-made videos. Someone takes their phone and they make a video while they're at the concert. I'm all for those, by the way. They provide a nice memento, a way to look back at that experience, and, you share them on YouTube and get other people going, hey, I was at that show, or man, that's good, or whatever it is. But here's the thing. In any fan-made video, or most fan-made videos, you will see people in the crowd who just don't seem to be into it. They're just, standing there, leaning against the railing, beer dangling from their fingers, listening to the music, kind of, whatever. I don't get that. And I'm thinking of one video in particular. If you're on a cruise called Shipwrecked, you must be a rock and roll fan, right? I mean, why else would you take a cruise with that name? And if you're a rock and roll fan, it is difficult for me to understand how you could not fall in love with this band within 2 or 3 songs. I don't get the lazy onlooker thing. If you're going to a concert, show up for the concert. Show up emotionally. Contribute your energy to the collective, because that's what makes a great concert. Not just the performance of the band, but the performance of the band, and then the energy they receive back, and then in turn turn around and give back to the audience. Those are the concerts that stick with you.
Greedy little fucker, you sink your teeth and leave me yelling for another. You're self-sorry, but you keep it undercover.
Consume. Another excellent song here with metal and hard rock and even some urban all kind of working together. The song begins pretty low-key, and Danny's vocal tone and delivery, especially starting around the 30-second mark, have that kind of urban vibe to them. That gives way to a heavier chorus, which ends in a surprising, just a very short but surprising little urban/pop thing. Before we get back into the verse, another chorus, and then a guitar solo. The solo starts with kind of an Eastern tinged sound, and while it doesn't, it doesn't spin your head around with its speed or its technique or anything like that, it's done well, and it's put in there right where it needs to be. And right after that guitar solo, another chorus, and we're out.
Burning your automatic sun.
Balls of Crom. I dig this song and everything about it. But oddly, there's not a lot to say about Automatic Sun. It's another song about being in a f***ed up relationship. It's got a great sound. Even the quiet sections feel heavy, to me. Another mix of funk and hard rock. There is little to no metal here, but I don't care. And this feels like a really short song. Now, it's not necessarily, noticeably shorter, I guess, than any other song on the album, but it feels really short for some reason. And it doesn't have sort of the variety in the composition of most of the Warning songs. But again, I don't care because it is a good song and I really enjoyed it. It's just a catchy, heavy, satisfying little thing. Now, the production on this album is remarkable. It's very polished, but that polish does not blunt the edge of the music. When The Warning released the single More, they also released a short YouTube video in which they said they were evolving their sound. And man, they were not kidding. Going from Error to Keep Me Fed, they jumped straight from Tiktaalik to Australopithecus. It's a little joke there for the many, many paleoanthropologists who subscribe to my channel. Anyway, yeah, if this album does not break The Warning big time, then I do not know what will. Now, clearly, The Warning already are headliners in some parts of the world. In the United States, they are still mostly an opening or small venue act. They're opening for Evanescence, for example, on a lot of dates here in 2024. But after this album comes out and achieves its sort of full acknowledgement, I don't think The Warning are going to be an opening act for very long. And that's what I've got. Do you guys agree with my assessments here? Do you disagree? Do you just have something you want to say? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, you're awesome. Come back. I'll talk to you soon. Situation. It's flipped because... Oh, I just hit my microphone. Are flipped. It's from... And I spit. Let me do this bit again. To share the fun and then you... Bleh.